Hello there guys, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to a new video on my channel. And today what I'm going to talk about is basically how the loan army could, or if they can, basically help Chelsea moving forward, especially with Chelsea, being hit with this transfer ban, especially after what Andreas Christensen said earlier today, or, the quotes by him that came out earlier today anyway, which I will tell you basically later in the video. But yeah, that's what we're talking about today. I did see that Eunice made a very similar video last night, or yesterday anyway. I didn't watch it. I made this decision to make this video before then. I asked people on Twitter because I wasn't sure what to talk about yesterday, and I wanted to record a video yesterday initially, but then it turned out I didn't really have the time to do it because, recording, editing and uploading and stuff takes quite a bit of time. But yeah, not sure whether Eunice saw the Twitter recommendations that I got, because that's kind of what people told me to, talk about, and I actually liked the idea. But he did make that video, fair play. I didn't watch it yet because I didn't want to be influenced and basically just be saying the same thing as him. I don't know whether I will be saying the same thing as him. Chances are we have different opinions. But yeah, I do know that he made that video yesterday. Again, I didn't watch it over from the title and stuff. I assume that's basically what he spoke about. But before getting into the video itself, I do want to mention a few things. First of all, massive thank you to all of you that clicked on the last video and got it to over 10,000 views. That is absolutely huge, especially with my channel size of only 2,600 subscribers. But I say only 2,600 subscribers because the subscriber gain after that video was also massive. So again, massive thank you for that. But, if you are and, were one of those people that clicked that last video or are clicking this video but haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Please subscribe. I would massively appreciate that. And also hit the notification bell button because, then you get notifications when I upload a video and you don't miss any of my videos, and that's just great for everybody involved. And yeah, please just watch all my videos basically, because I need watch time, because until I hit 4,000 hours of watch time, I can't monetize my videos. And that's just sad, isn't it now? That's just a little bit sad. So please help me out and just watch this video. Watch it until the end. I know my videos are sometimes quite long. I hope to make this one a little bit shorter. But, just watch them. I would massively appreciate it. But now finally getting into the video. And by the way, also thank you for those people on Twitter that, suggested some video ideas to me. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate the interaction. Some good jokes with, a couple of the lads. Apparently I have boxes of cricket. Rather than cricket, because of a typo. And that was quite funny. You know who you are if you, were involved in that discussion, obviously. But, if you do want to suggest, things to me in the future, video suggestions or whatever, do follow me on Twitter. It's Laurenz1507 over there. The link to it is down in the description. Same it is on Instagram as well. Follow me over there. I would massively appreciate it. But now actually finally getting into the video. Now, and it's kind of a good place to start off with Andreas Christensen's basically comments that, came out. And that comment by Andreas Christensen was this, and I quote, "The messages we've got are that Chelsea can't appeal the transfer ban and therefore Chelsea want to keep all the players." He also said that he's not particularly happy with his current situation. Interestingly, a week ago or so, he said that he is pretty happy with his situation because he's been playing a lot of games. Basically also saying that he would like to start more like Premier League games and stuff, but he still thinks that he's been playing a lot of games recently, so he's not really thinking about his future at this moment in time. Now, he said a few different things, but what I want to focus on is this comment that Chelsea can't appeal the transfer ban. Now, obviously, you all know that we have the transfer ban. You all know that it's not 100% guaranteed that we will be banned from signing players this summer. Of course, we can still sign players, but we can't register them, so if we do sign them, they can't play for us until this ban is over. Basically, it's more of a register ban than a transfer ban in a sense. But that is the situation. Obviously, there still might be some changes to that. We have appealed to the FIFA, of course, so I don't really understand the situation of we can't appeal because we pretty much have already. But, obviously the situation is more whether we can appeal again, whether they let us sign players in the meantime while the investigation is still ongoing. Although, like I said in my last video, there were reports saying that basically the whole process will be done before the summer, and even give us time to talk to the CAS or to appeal to the CAS if the result of this investigation goes against ourselves. But yeah, this is what Andreas Christensen said. And now obviously the question is, what will we do for next season? Because, we do have a massive loan army, and a lot of those players could quite possibly help us next season, with the fact that some players might still leave, especially someone like Eden Hazard might very well still leave this summer. Hopefully we'll just offload some other players as well and replace them with some of our loanees, because why the hell not? Why the hell not? I think it would be good in some cases, basically. So that is what I'm here to talk about today. And in all honesty, I probably should have some structure to this, going from back to front or front to back or whatever. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not on 100% Chelsea here. I'm on my own channel. I just go with the flow. So let's talk about the loanees. Obviously, before getting into the loanees themselves, there's quite a few players that we're not sure about what's going to happen with them. There have been plenty of reports about Gonzalo Higuain that at this stage, Chelsea aren't really, all too happy with him, or let's say not happy enough with him to extend his stay at the Bridge. Obviously, we have this option including into his initial 6-month loan deal, that we can still basically use that option this summer, even with the register ban or transfer ban, that we can either extend his loan deal by another 12 months for roughly £16 million. I think it's pounds, it might be euros, but I think it's pounds. Or we can sign it permanently for £32 million, again, or euros. And we're not sure whether we want to do either of those things. Juventus don't want him back. He wants to stay. So we don't really know what exactly is going to happen there. Obviously, if we don't, decide to keep him around, we do have a striker situation here, because Alvaro Morata, for example, is one of those loanees that we can't just get back. He's on an 18-month loan, not a 6-month loan to Atletico Madrid, as far as I'm aware. And they also have an option to buy him, which is down to them, not to us, really. So, if he wants to stay there, and if they want him to stay, and he's been doing all right, I've not watched all of the games, but he's been doing all right. So maybe they will want to do that. So, he's not really an option. And then obviously you do have Batshuayi, you do have Tammy Abraham as striking options. But, you also have Olivier Giroud's contract running out at the end of the season, although there is now talk with the transfer ban of us extending that contract, which would make sense, although he's also talking about possibly going back to France, and clearly he's not all too happy, with being second choice, pretty much like he was at Arsenal, or third choice or whatever, and he just wants to feel important again, he wants to play more and stuff, which, more than fair play. And, if it's as simple as that. I don't know whether we're going to keep Higuain. Me personally, I would keep him around on a 12-month extension of his loan, even though it's 60 million, but I would keep him around. He's not been brilliant so far. He's not been awful in my opinion, but he's definitely not been brilliant, and he could have scored quite a few more goals than he has so far. But, I just keep him around. I think it's a little bit too risky to have a season of just going with Batshuayi or Tammy Abraham and then Olivier Giroud. I don't really want that. I do rate Batshuayi pretty highly. He's not an Higuain, he shouldn't be Chelsea's first choice striker without any backup if it doesn't go right, because he's been decent for us when he was around, obviously, but mostly when he started games in the Premier League and stuff, it wasn't really all that great. So I'm not sure about it. And Tammy Abraham, is yet to be seen how good he would be for a top side in the Premier League, because he played for Swansea and did all right for them, but Swansea were a horrible side and got relegated. The least of it was his fault, because he actually did well. I'm pretty sure he was their top goal scorer, even though he didn't score for quite a while towards the end of the season, unless I'm mistaken there, but that's what I remember from last season anyway. But, that's the situation, so I'm not sure whether that would be the best idea. But I would most certainly bring both of them back. I'd rather, keep Gonzalo Higuain on for another year, because obviously the summer after we could then again sign players, which would be good, and then just sign another striker. And just bring Batshuayi and Tammy Abraham back. I want us to have 3 strikers. I don't like the idea of just having 2 around. If one gets an injury, of course, with how it is right now, we just play Hazard up front, basically, if we need to, which, is an option, but I'd rather have 3 proper strikers. That would be good in my opinion. Obviously, if we can sign players in the summer, someone like Jovic from Eintracht Frankfurt, he would be unbelievable. He's an unbelievable striker. He's only 21 years of age. He's quality. But there's a lot of other huge clubs after him, reportedly Barcelona and others as well. Could we get him? Probably not. But if we had no transfer ban, I would very much hope that we try. But we will probably have that transfer ban. So sadly, that's the one slipping away. Going through the rest of the team, we have a lot of loanies out there. You have Mason Mount, who in my opinion should, without doubt, come back with this transfer ban. Usually I'd say try to get him a Premier League loan. If Derby managed to get promoted, leave him there and get him a Premier League loan there, obviously with Frank Lampard, and, Fikayo Tomori is there as well. But if they don't get promoted, I would usually say get him to a Premier League club. But with the transfer ban, I would rather bring him in and get rid of, say Danny Drinkwater, for example, and have him, as part of the squad. It just makes more sense, even though we then have Barkley, Loftus-Cheek, and Mason Mount. Again, 3 players that can only properly really play as the left centre midfielder if Sarri stays around. I'm going to assume all of this as if Sarri stays around, because everything else is just even more so speculation, more than this is as it is. But, there's multiple managers that are apparently linked to us, obviously. If Sarri was to get sacked, does that depend on winning the Europa League or not? Does that depend on making top 4 or not? We don't know for sure. I think, especially if we win the Europa League, just make Champions League football next season. Sarri's not going anywhere. I would also hope that even if we don't make Champions League football, that Sarri would stick around, because a new manager, when you can't sign anyone and you have a squad that's aging and very average, doesn't really, bode that well, in my opinion anyway. But you have the likes of Mason Mount. You also have Timur Bakayoko, by the way, who, has a very good season at AC Milan. Sorry, he didn't start off very well at all, but in recent weeks and months has done incredibly well, and they want to keep him. They have an option to buy him as well. Not sure whether we'll try to basically bring him back. We'll have to wait and see. Would he be an option to have? He could, in my opinion, he could certainly improve and be that right centre midfielder, that more of a bit of a bulldozer, Kante type style. Is he perfectly suited to Mauricio Sarri's football? Of course not. He's not good enough on the ball. His passing isn't great. but he would certainly be an option to have around. And in my opinion, he's a lot much better of an option than Drinkwater is, in my opinion, anyway. And you know, we have him anyway, so you know, you might as well have him there for a season next year. But actually, see, that's what I mean. I have no structure of how I'm going through this. But the important thing for me is obviously the wingers. Now, obviously, we do have Christian Pulisic from Borussia Dortmund coming, you know, in the summer. We signed him in January and stuff. He's basically back on loan there until the end of the season. Not playing all that much. Sometimes playing well, sometimes not playing so well. And Eden Hazard, in my opinion, is still probably leaving. Now, like Andreas Christensen said, we are trying to keep all of our players, obviously, whether that's with Giroud, whether that's with Higuain, whether that's with, you know, Danny Drinkwater, you know, players like that, Zabacosta possibly, or, you know, obviously Eden Hazard. Will we be able to keep Eden Hazard? I mean, if we force him to stay and are willing to let him go for free next summer, then yes, we are, because he's under contract, so we can do that. I just very much doubt that he's going to sign a new contract. I've spoken about this. And what do we do then? What do we do about Willian and Pedro then? Because if Hazard leaves and we can't sign anyone, then we kind of need to have Willian and Pedro around, because we can't just have, you know, Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic, and we don't even know for sure whether Hudson-Odoi will stay. I mean, I hope so, but we don't know for sure. Especially if Hazard leaves and he gets more game time, I think he'll be just fine staying, which I hope will be the case. And then obviously he'll sign a new contract as well. I hope that will happen if Hazard leaves. That's the only, you know, kind of light at the end of the tunnel about Hazard leaving, in my opinion, anyway. But what do we do about Willian and Pedro then? We kind of have to keep them around, because you need 4 wingers, and we don't really have any young wingers that are like, oh yeah, you know, let's bring him in. You know, he can be just fine as that replacement, as that backup, because you need at least 4 wingers. I'd preferably have 5 actually, but you need at least 4. Like, you need to have a replacement for each of the wings. So have Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Willian and Pedro. You know, that would be good in my opinion. Obviously, preferably start Hudson-Odoi and one of the other 3, depending on how Pulisic does, obviously, once he comes in. At the start of the season, it might still be Willian and Pedro, but, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But, you know, we can't really sell Willian and Pedro as much as I'm sure some of you even more so would like to sell them. If we can't keep Hazard without, you know, forcing him to stay and then selling him on a free or letting him go on a free next summer, there's just no option to keep them to, you know, to sell them to. It just isn't a viable option. And then you also have other options at for the fullback positions, for example, like Reece James, obviously, who's at Wigan, who's having an unbelievable season, played really well at right back, also playing in midfield at times. His manager making unbelievable comments about him, saying how good he is, basically saying what a leader he is as well, saying that he turned down offers from other clubs in January to stick around. And obviously, you know, he's basically by far their best player. They're not doing particularly well in the Championship, but he's by far the best player. And to me, he's very much so an option that we could be looking at to bring in as Azpilicueta's backup. To start with, you know, it would be better to have him as the backup rather than as the starting right back. But as the season goes on, and especially the season after, in my opinion, he should be, or he's more than capable of being a starting right back, and that would obviously be a deal. I mean, you also have Ola Aina, who's on loan at Torino in obviously the Serie A, not Juventus, Turin, at FC Torino, and he's starting pretty much every game there. He's having a decent season. Torino having a decent season. He's a regular starter there. They also have an option to buy him. So obviously, if he wants to stay there, if they want him, we're a bit, you know, in a bit of a tricky situation there. If wanting to keep him, and Reece James is younger and stuff. Maybe right now to have him as a backup that we need to rely on sometimes, because Azpilicueta isn't perfectly suited to Sarri ball, if we're still going to call it that. Maybe Olaina would be slightly better, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, can the loanies really save us next season? I mean, it is a bit of a tricky situation, isn't it? Like, striker situation, Higuain, then we have Batshuayi, who some people like, some people don't like. I actually think he's quite similar to Higuain. Some people might think, oh, awful then. A bit quicker. Very good finisher in a sense, but not the greatest at the build-up play, which Higuain, again, is a little bit better at. But, you know, I think there is a place for Batshuayi inside his squad, but Sarri clearly doesn't think so. Otherwise, he wouldn't have loaned him out straight away, you know, as soon as Batshuayi came back from the World Cup in the summer, which I thought was weird, you know, at that point as well. Tammy Abraham, yes. But, you know, can we expect all that much with a transfer ban next summer if we keep the players, even if we bring some of the loanees back? Probably not. But, you know, they can certainly improve us, and we can take it as a positive. We can at least look at the only positive we can look at from this transfer ban. You know, promote Mason Mount into the first team squad. He wouldn't be a starter straight away, of course, because we have Loftus-Cheek. But maybe Mason Mount can, you know, improve such an amount next season that the season after, the summer after, in summer of 2020, we can sell, for example, Ross Barkley and have Loftus-Cheek and Mason Mount as the 2 players for the left centre midfield position. If, for example, Maurizio Sarri is still around, you know, I think that would be a very, 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 very nice option. I don't rate Ross Barkley particularly highly, and Mason Mount is one of our own. So that would be perfectly ideal, in my opinion. That would be perfect. And it's similar with Reece James. Like I said, shouldn't be a starter next season, in my opinion anyway. Some people might actually say that he should be a starter already next season. I don't necessarily agree. But, you know, if we keep him around for the season and he plays the odd game, hopefully Azpilicueta doesn't get injured and, you know, Reece James is forced to play all the big games. Although maybe that could work as well. But what do we do about, you know, like I say, Batshuayi? Do we bring him back? Probably should in our situation. But about Bakayoko, if we can bring him back, again, I probably think we should. But you can't expect that much from next season then. If we lose Hazard and can't, you know, have this transfer ban and can't really replace him, we're not going to be significantly better. I think Sarri will improve a lot of the players. You know, Kovacic will leave as well, which is obviously a bit of an issue. We don't have a Regista backup. We don't really have a Regista on loan anywhere. Anyone that can really play as the Regista, we don't have anyone like that on loan. So we'd have to figure something out there as well. Because our board are really smart and didn't replace us Fabregas in January, which super ideal, because with the transfer ban, as much as we can, you know, still get Higuain. Kovacic we cannot get because, you know, we don't have an option to buy him, basically. So it would have to be a new deal, a new registration, a new negotiation with Real Madrid in the summer if we are transfer banned. That just doesn't work. So we can't do that. So we're a bit screwed there. We'll have to figure something out. So, you know, should we go into next season, if that is all the case, expecting top four? In my opinion, no. We shouldn't expect that. You know, if we make Champions League football next season, should we expect to go find the Champions League next season? No, we should not. I would probably expect us to go out in the group stages, at least come third. Obviously, it depends on the group, so it's difficult to judge right now or to predict, but probably come third, maybe even fourth. So prepare for that. But I hope that Sarri can bring the youth players in, you know, through more. If he is allowed to stick around, I think next season he will do that a lot more than he did this season. I hope I'm right in saying that. I really am. But yeah, to be honest, that is really it for me. There was not the most amount of structure to this today, I do admit, but I did just give you my opinions on what do we do, you know, with which loanies. Obviously, we have so many loanies, but I can't talk about all of them. Like I said, I gave you my opinions on the ones that I think are viable options to bring back. Obviously, there's also Jada Silva for the left-back position, but he's very quick, he's good on the ball, he's a good fullback, especially attacking. So maybe he's someone to possibly bring back, but I'd rather have Emerson as the starter, definitely not Alonso. I don't really want Jada Silva to be our starter straight away. Alonso's not going anyway, just signed a new contract, so that's not happening. But again, you know, that's really it for me. I'm going to leave it there. I hope this video isn't as long as obviously recent ones were, because I know they were a little bit long. But again, I do hope that you watched up until this point. Like I said in the beginning, please do subscribe to this channel. I would massively appreciate that. Check out my social media to which the links are, you know, both down in the description. It's Laos1507 on both Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, again, thank you guys for watching. It's up to Chelsea, because we spoke about Chelsea again. It's upwards and onwards. Let's hope we can somewhat see the light in the tunnel with the transfer ban, if we do, you know, obviously have to stick with this transfer ban and make use of it in a positive way with the youth players. But yeah, like I said, you know, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.